everyone, this is Alloutdoor1 here. Today I'm doing a little, I suppose you'd call it, folding knife shootout. This is a collection of all my own personal folding knives that I currently own. Some of these I've owned for a few years, some of them are more recent acquisitions. As you may know, my interest in knives is generally from a bushcraft kind of survival perspective, and knives that I can't use in that capacity I tend to eventually disregard, and I'm planning to do so with perhaps one or two of these knives. So I thought I'd just put this video together quickly before I get rid of any of them. So just to keep things simple, I'll start off with the smallest ones and talk a little bit about each one. So first up, we'll have a look at this Boker Mini Bantam. It's a relatively small folding knife, lock back, some kind of plastic handle. Comes at a reasonable level of sharpness straight from the box. Has a small secondary bevel at the bottom here, if you can just about pick that up. Actually quite a nice usable blade profile, and the steel seems to keep a decent level of sharpness. Currently have one of these sitting in my motorcycle emergency kit, which I've used on previous occasions to cut cordage and rubber. Fairly nice ergonomics for such a small knife. Decent thickness to the blade there. Wouldn't say it's particularly heavy duty, but for a small folder it's nice. Okay, so next up we have a Spyderco, very popular knife maker. This is a UK legal sub 3-inch non-knocking folding knife. Classic spider hole opening hole. Very simple edge profile on there. Stainless steel handle with the Spyderco logo and a keychain lanyard hole. Actually a good sized handle, can really get a nice grip on there. Slip joint, stays open via thumb pressure to this point here and via your finger against this choil here. So even in the case where it does close, you have got some safety margin there, which is a nice feature. Clicks nicely open into place. Nice slim blade. This one I use on my keychain. This is my current EDC. I don't need anything bigger than this. This is good for admin tasks and cutting cordage and general small cutting tasks. Perfect for that purpose. Next up we have one of my favourite small folding knives. This is the Fallkniven U2. Clicks solidly into place there. Not a heavy duty knife by any means, but very lightweight with nice ergonomics, nice handle to grip on there. I believe it's made from Zytel, not a supremely great material, but the main feature of this blade is the laminated super gold powdered steel blade, which does, in my opinion, retain a very good cutting edge for prolonged periods. Now this is one of my favourite bushcrafting knives because it's just so good for small whittling tasks, creating shavings, feather sticking, creating very fine points on steaks, etc. easy to clean and maintain, and is also a good game prep knife in my opinion. Simple thumb hole opening there. Okay, next one we're going to go to a traditional favourite knife of the bushcrafter. This is the Opinel. They make these in several varieties. Excuse me. They make these in several versions, both stainless and carbon steel versions, and many varieties of handles and sizes, etc. This is traditionally, oh sorry, let me just talk about the lock system here, which is unique to Opinel. Once opened, you simply twist this stainless steel band around, like so, which then, as you can see, prevents the blade from locking. Good thing about this one, it can be further tightened up to eradicate all play, and is, in my experience, a very safe locking system. Very good looking kind of knife as well, I think, if you like the more traditionally styled knives. Beechwood handles, and the blade has got an elegant profile with a single bevel. And then, sorry, my mistake, it does have a small micro bevel. As I said, very slim blade, traditionally a French kind of agricultural knife, peasant knife as you'd call it. For the price, I think this is, you know, a very high value piece of equipment. Another good thing about this is that it's very easy to keep very sharp. Next up we have a blade that I may be looking to get rid of shortly. This is the Higanokami XL. Admittedly, it is a great looking piece. Simple folded brass handle, one piece brass handle, encasing a high carbon steel folding blade, which the shape of which is reminiscent to a samurai sword in some ways. Comes at a very high level of sharpness straight from the box, but I have subsequently worked on this for several hours, including stropping to give it a slightly more mirrored edge and an even sharper cutting edge. Very thick, chunky piece of steel this. The back end is actually very good for striking a fire steel with a very unique blade profile. There is no locking system on this blade, just thumb pressure must be maintained on this extended and twisted tang at all times to keep the knife open. No error for margins with this knife. No margins for error with this knife, as you can see on my finger there. I've tried to use this as a bushcraft knife and decided that it was simply not up to the task in any way. Still a very good looking piece, one for the collectors I would say. Next up we have the Sword Peasant. I believe these are made in New Zealand. In fact, yes, they are made in New Zealand. They come in several different sizes with several different material handles available. Similar to the Higanokami, has an extended tang which serves as an opening and locking system. However, the difference being that once opened, the tang actually buries itself into the handle, which in fact gives you a much more secure locking system. I have used this in a bushcraft capacity and I found it to be fairly stable, and it stays open much more readily than the Higanokami, let's put it that way. Not ideal still, as it lacks a lock. I wouldn't advise doing any really heavy cutting duties with this one, just for your own safety. Where this knife does excel is bushcraft tasks such as cutting cordage and light whittling. Very nice carbon steel blade there, with some of the original patina left on there, with the remaining brought up to almost a mirror shine. This one does need to be kept oiled up quite a lot, as you can see, as it does tend to rust if exposed to any moisture. Very easy to maintain in the field, and is actually quite pleasant to use. So that's the Ford Peasant. Next up, more of an EDC kind of knife. This is the Boker Subcom 42. This is a supposedly UK street legal knife, as in sub 3 inches non-knocking. This is too much for me to carry for an EDC. As I said, I just simply have this one on my keychain, the Spyderco, and that covers, you know, all of my EDC kind of cutting tasks. Obviously, if I'm going to the woods, then I've got my main knife with me, axe and a saw. So anyway, back to this one. This is the Boker Subcom 42, as I said. Folding knife made by Chad Los Banos, I believe his name is, or designed by him, and collaboration with Boker, German knife manufacturer. For such a small thing, you know, it's credit card size pretty much, slightly thicker. It's actually quite a lot of knife. A nice deep finger choil there, prevents it closing up on you. You know, there's no chance that you're going to cut yourself with this pretty much, so I do like that as a safety feature. This thumb stud here just means it's nice and easy to open it. Has like a 2-position lock or semi-lock. As you can see, it won't move around in this position either. Originally I thought this might have some kind of bushcrafty applications, but was thinking of it more as an EDC kind of knife. But I've decided that it's just a little too big and too much for me to carry for an EDC blade. I have no purpose for it. I do like the way it looks. I think it has a real cool kind of appearance to it. It does come with a pocket clip, which can be adjusted to be carried either way, and unique kind of design. And the blade is actually quite nice. I prefer blades with a flat edge at the top rather than a slope downwards to a kind of almost a spear point. But the blade is actually a decent kind of steel. Can't remember what it is. I think it's, yeah, OS 8. Does keep a pretty decent edge, but not for kind of heavyweight cutting tasks at all. So that's the Boker Subcom 42. Finally, we have a really cool kind of knife. I just love the way this one feels in your hand. Again, this is the Untitled 1, very popular blade, I understand. Has a lanyard hole here, really nice thumb studs here, allows you to get really nice open on it. Again, this one's made from OS 8 as the Boker 42, so it's a pretty decent steel. I have actually taken this one out into the woods and done a kind of batoning test with it. I'll put the link up here. As you've seen through the video, I've inserted links to some of these other knives as well for my full reviews of these blades, so please feel free to watch those. Yeah, so this one's made by Randall's Adventure Training in Ontario, collaboration. Kind of nice blade, great ergonomics here, I think. Good bit of jimping here, allows you to get a nice purchase here with the thumb. The locking system seems to be pretty decent on this. Clicks nicely into place, really does lock the blade up firmly with minimal up and down play and slightly more lateral play, but the up and down play is absolutely minuscule. Has to be obviously pulled back to close. Does feel really nice in the hand, and the blade profile is just feels very nice. Nice weighty feel to the whole knife as well. So that's the Ontario Rat 1. And finally, we're going to go to something which is all about practicality. This is simply a little draper cutting tool. Again, similar locking system to the Ontario. Obviously for extra fine work and cutting carpets. Good thing about this is that the blades are replaceable, so if you break one you can simply slide another one in there and get back to the task in hand. This was actually bought for me several years ago as part of a multi-tool kit, and yeah, served me on many occasions in fact. So yeah, not bad quality. So you have been watching my personal folding knife shootout. Hope you like this video, and please feel free to ask any questions. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. This is Alloutdoor1 signing out for now. Take care.